Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, join me. Let's welcome Peter. Peter Ichik. Peter, sorry if I pronounce your name wrongly.
Right.
A little bit about Peter's background before we bring him in. He's going to be our speaker for tonight. Peter, academic achievement. Peter has a bachelor degree, a Bachelor of Science degree in Computer Information System. That was in 1992. That's a guru that has been in the field for a while. Has a master degree in data science in 2008. Also a healthcare analytics certificate in 2018. Also a degree in big data engineering 2018, and a certification in 2019 in AWS certification. Currently, he works as a data science manager and also co-teaches as a Microsoft SQL Server Database Administrator Instructor, as well as AWS certification instructor. He also teaches Excel for business in other ventures. Actually, he's the CEO of Trustech, a higher institute of technology in Cameroon, for those of you who know the school. And he owns a couple of other businesses, as well as Trustech Consulting Corp here in US, in Minnesota. So, ladies and gentlemen, join me. Let's welcome Peter as our guest speaker today. Peter, welcome.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Can everybody hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. All right. It's a pleasure to be here. And I thank Dr. Dennis for inviting me here to be your guest speaker tonight. I'm very excited to see all of you, especially those who are in the market looking for jobs. I want to extend some news to you that for those who are looking for jobs, through Dr. Dennis, please, you can forward your resumes to us because we have a consulting business in the US. And sometimes we do have job orders and we don't find the exact fit for them. So if you can forward your resumes through Dr. Dennis, we can assist you in your pursuit for job opportunity within the US. Thank you. So let me share my screen because we have a lot to talk about today. If you can see my screen, let me know.
Yes, you can see your screen.
All right. Excellent, excellent. Let me make sure I can see everybody on my second screen so that we can have some eye contact. All right. That was a whole lot of introduction, Dr. Dennis. Yeah, I've been in the industry for over 30 years, so I've seen a lot, and I've hired a lot of people, and I fire some. And so I'm very used to the market and the market dynamics. So my topic of today is why cloud is the future. Why cloud is the future. I know some of you are already in the cloud, some don't. Maybe some have heard about the cloud, but they don't know what it's all about. Maybe some of you want to be vendors, you want to be a business owner. But I want to tell you good news that if you are out to start a business, which I encourage you to do, like I have my own businesses, please do not settle back for the traditional way of doing business because you will not be in business for too long. You got to embrace the cloud because that's where technology is advancing. Today, you're going to hear about it, and then you're going to make some choices as you go forward in your careers, as you pursue your careers. All right. The agenda for today will be as follows. What is cloud computing? On-premise IT infrastructure, cloud benefits, market share, job opportunities, and I'll show you a small demo. How the cloud look like. How does the cloud look like? For some of you who don't know about the cloud, we're going to talk about it today. All right. What is cloud computing? I I have a 3 minutes video to show you, and then we'll dive deep into what it means. And before you go home tonight, you will have some knowledge to share with other friends and families. So let me bring that one up. Just give me a few seconds. I will bring up that video. Sit back and enjoy it in a minute.
Cloud computing is the on-demand delivery of IT resources via the internet. With pay-as-you-go pricing.
There we go. There we
Instead
go.
of buying, owning, and maintaining physical data centers and servers, you can access technology services such as computing power, storage, and databases on an as-needed basis from a cloud provider like Amazon Web Services. Organizations of every type, size, and industry are using the cloud for a wide variety of use cases, such as data backup, disaster recovery, email, virtual desktops, software development and testing, big data analytics, and customer-facing web applications. For example, healthcare companies are using the cloud to develop more personalized treatments for patients. Financial services companies are using the cloud to power real-time fraud detection and prevention. And video game makers are using the cloud to deliver online games to millions of players around the world. With cloud computing, your business can become more agile, reduce costs, instantly scale, and deploy globally in minutes. Cloud computing gives you instant access to a broad range of technologies, so you can innovate faster and build nearly anything you can imagine. From infrastructure services such as compute, storage, and databases, to Internet of Things, machine learning, data analytics, and much more. You can deploy technology services in a matter of minutes and get from idea to implementation several orders of magnitude faster than before. This gives you the freedom to experiment and test new ideas, to differentiate customer experiences and transform your business, such as adding machine learning and intelligence to your applications in order to personalize experiences for your customers and improve their engagement. You don't need to make large upfront investments in hardware and overpay for capacity you don't use. Instead, you can trade capital expense for variable expense and only pay for IT as you consume it. With cloud computing, you access resources from the cloud in real time as they're needed. You can scale these resources up and down to grow or shrink capacity instantly as your business needs change. Cloud computing also makes it easy to expand to new regions and deploy globally in minutes. For example, Amazon Web Services has infrastructure all over the world, so you're able to deploy your application in multiple physical locations in just a few clicks. Putting applications in closer proximity to end users reduces latency and improves their experience. No matter your location, size, or industry, the cloud frees you from managing infrastructure and data centers, so you can focus on what matters most to your business.
All right, excellent, excellent. You got it. That is the cloud. Where are we today? A lot of us, Africa, majority of Africans are still on-premise. This revolution should not leave us behind. And that's why I'm very passionate to bring to you why the cloud is the future. Young generation like you should begin to be excited about this new technology. And I'm going to bring it to you, the details as follows. Look at my next slide right here. Oh, sorry. Look at my next slide right there. On my right-hand side is what we call on-premise. And on the left-hand side is the on-premise IT infrastructure. On the right-hand side is the cloud. But let's talk about on-premise. I put a $sign on each of the topics. Facility infrastructure, dollars. IT infrastructure, dollars. The system platform, dollars. Framework, dollars. Programming, application, and configuration, dollars, right? That's what you pay today to run a business on premise. If you work to a business that you work for, behind the room, there is what they call a server room. In that server room, you have computers, you have printers, you have laptops, you have cell phones, you have everything there. Of course, fans running 24/7. Security also there. Every month, the business is paying for all those resources. Whether you like to use it or not, you are paying for it. That is what we do on premise every day. All right. Now, look at what you can do in the cloud. We're going to look at the differences between on-premise infrastructure and the cloud. And then you begin to see why the cloud is the future, why there is a massive movement to the cloud, especially everything has been pushed to the cloud, even rapidly with COVID-19 that happened March of 2020. If you are in business and you don't have it present in the cloud, what will you do when the next pandemic happens? Your business will not survive. All right. That's what we do on premise. We buy massive amount of computers. We build high capacity infrastructure. We hire a lot of people. We do a lot of programming and so on and so forth. That's what we do on premise. Now, I have a slide here that tells you. Now, I just told you how big the on-premise infrastructure look like, the big amount of money you spend every month. Paying workers, pay electricity, pay for the hardware, whether you use it or not, pay for security to guard your infrastructure or the data center, and so on and so forth. Now, the cloud is a different architecture. The infrastructure is built and managed by what we call cloud providers around the world. And now you can see a screenshot of what the benefits look like. I want to highlight just a few here with you, and I have more to tell you about. If I tell you that, you know what, instead of buying computers that you maintain every year for 10 years, and then you go buy more computer, and then you have to throw away all the other computers that you bought, buy new ones year in, year out. If I tell you that you don't have to buy any more computers, you just use a compute in the cloud. You don't have to worry about what version of computer you have to buy. You don't have to worry about what is there. You don't have to worry about it's IBM or it's HP, none of that headache. Just pay a little bit of money as a subscription and only pay for what you use. Does that resonate with you? Does it make sense to you? I bet. If it doesn't, keep going with me, you will know more. So if you have electricity in your home, which we all do, and you turn on the light and the meter is running, right? And you have a fridge, the meter is running. Now, if you don't want to pay a bill at the end of the month, turn off all these appliances. Turn off the light, turn off the fridges, shut out everything. At the end of the month, you may not pay anything, right? That is the pricing model of the cloud, which means that you don't pay unless you use it. Isn't that beautiful? But let's think about the premise. Whether you use it or not, you are paying for all those services. You are paying for the electricity. You are paying for security. You are paying for the license. You are paying for all of those things, whether you like it or not. So let's say you go to the cloud today and you stand up a computer and use it. In the evening, you shut it down. You are not paying for it anymore until you turn the machine back on. So the concept is called pay as you go. It's a big plus to those who are doing business in the cloud. You don't have to pay until you use it. That saves you a lot of money every month. Every month. Now, there's one more thing that I want to highlight here, and then we'll go to the next slide, is security. I know one of those careers that you must have heard about, cyber security. My goodness, it's one of the hottest careers too nowadays. Why? Can you imagine a hacker that hacks into your phone or hacks into your computer, take it over for ransom and ask you to pay some money before they let go your machine? Can you imagine that? They do that all the time, and there's a big business. It's $1 million business. And this guy will figure a way to hack you and take over your machine. Now, if I tell you that the cloud technology will secure your information very tightly, that you will hardly see that kind of thing happen. What do you think? Are you thinking about the cloud, or you're thinking about premise where human beings make errors? Sometimes they leave their machine running without signing off, without even locking off from their machine. Somebody can just walk in and start working on your machine because you forgot to lock your machine up. It happens all the time. Or an employee would deliberately hack the data and send it out there, like it happens in many companies. If I tell you that in the cloud, it's absolutely very difficult to hack. I think as a business person, you'll be thinking about, wait a minute, why am I doing on premise? Those are the two things I want to tell you about, but there's more. Let's move on. All right. I have sometimes you need to measure the performance, measure the benefit of cloud. And I have a few points to mention here so you can go home with something. When you go home today, you can remember. Measurable cloud benefits on businesses. On the left-hand side, look at this. 20% average improvement in time to market. Listen to me. Average improvement. If you have a product that you've developed and you want to, or a service that you want to provide, if you don't go to the market as fast as you could, if you take too long, your competitors, they take advantage and be in the cloud and you'll be dead on arrival. I have been in that situation before where I was developing software in the days where there was cyber, they call it cyber cafe in Cameroon, where you have to put software on your machine. People buy tickets and come and solve the internet. So every software I bought, they were always hacking. Students will hack into the thing and break through it and use the internet for free. So I said, I want to develop my own. I hired a group of developers in India, changing the scope, trying to make sure that nobody can break it. Before I could come to the market after a year, guess what? All the ISP were now giving access to internet and access to everything. So my software was dead on arrival. Can you imagine? My software was dead on arrival. So if you have a product to go to the market, go fast and take the lead. And that's what Amazon did. Amazon came to the market fast and held the lead till today. You will see, I'll show you where Amazon is compared to its competitor like Microsoft Azure, Google, IBM, Alibaba, Oracle, and everybody else. They are 2 digits behind AWS because they got to the market the right time with momentum. Number 2, average increase in company growth. Do you know how long it took? Do you know how long it would take for a business to order machines for their lab? They don't make machine and put on a shelf for server for a business to go and buy. You have to place an order to HP and give them your specification. Then they go into the lab and build those machines and ship to you. You are looking at about 6 months before those machines can become online. Can you imagine that? Well, talk about the cloud. I will show a demo today where I will take less than 5 minutes and have machines running. That is what we call increase in agility and growth. So if your business is going to grow, you don't have to be buying machine every time your business is growing. You just go online and expand elastically as quickly as minutes. 19% of the time, you do that very fast. Number 3, average increase in process efficiency. Because of the tools that are in the cloud, it becomes very easy, even if you don't know networking, even if you don't know security, even if you are not a database administrator, you can actually click, and be successful in the cloud. But not very easy. I'm not just saying you're not gonna cover your eyes and click to be successful, but there are things that you have to think along the way. But it is very easy for you to be a network technician in the cloud, to be a security officer in the cloud, to be a database or database migration specialist in the cloud. Very easy. But those are careers that you have to go to school to learn. But because if you pick a career in the cloud, you learn all of these careers at once. Look on my right-hand side, the arrow is going downward. Average reduction in operational cost. I talked to you about the cost of operation on-premise is absolutely reduced when you go to the cloud. Second, average reduction in IT spending. You pay as you go in the cloud. So you don't have to buy over provision capacity that you may not even use and keep it on premise because you will grow. So you buy a lot of capacity and have it sitting there and idling there on premise. But in the clouds, you don't do that. You don't over provision capacity to grow. You grow as you need and you get capacity as you grow. And finally, reduction in IT maintenance costs. Can you imagine? Every year you have to upgrade. Do you know how painful it is to upgrade computer on premise? Application software to upgrade it? It takes effort, right? In the cloud, you don't do any upgrade. The cloud automatically upgrades itself. So that headache is gone. You get the latest and greatest in the cloud, where you don't have to worry about what version am I running, when am I going to do the upgrade, when do I do some patching, and so on and so forth. That part is taken care of by a cloud provider. All right. So those are some of the key benefits of being in the cloud. Let's go to the next. A summary of benefits in the cloud continues why cloud is the future. In the cloud, you can share resources. Can you imagine? Instead of dedicated machine you have on premise that you can even use all the resources, in the cloud you can share and pay less. Because you can share resources in the cloud, you pay less. Cloud is very flexible. If you don't like something, delete it and recreate it. I'm going to show you right now when we finish the presentation. I'll show a demo where I will create a computer right online within 5 minutes and I can get rid of it instantly and create another one if I don't like it. Data security, backup, collaboration, facility innovation, all of these are beautiful things that you will get if you are in the cloud. Business becomes very, very easy to run in the cloud. If you cannot remember anything that I've said so far, take home these 5 today. Take home these 5. Number 1, the cloud is very secured. Number 2, it's scalable. What do I mean by scalable? Something is scalable means you can grow, dynamically grow and shrink. Dynamically grow and shrink. So scalable means you can stand on one machine today, tomorrow I can stand up 2 more or 5 more. Maybe I can stand up every 10 immediately at once. Within 10 minutes, those machines are up and running. So cloud is scalable. Cost effective. You don't provision capacity that you don't need. So therefore, it's cost effective. You don't throw your money away. or put your money in an investment that you will wait for 5 years before you recover your money. No, use that money to expand your business when you go to the cloud. Better accessibility, of course, and energy efficient. Can you imagine when this machine that you buy on premise they get, or what do you do with it? You have to find a company that will take all those hardware and go and recycle. It's not good for our environment, right? When you go to the cloud, you don't have anything to dispose. Nothing to dispose, nothing to worry about the environment. And so that's why it is energy efficient and environmental friendly. 5 things that you can take home about the benefit of the cloud, why cloud is the future. Don't be left behind. The world is moving to the cloud. We are talking on Zoom today. Zoom is a cloud service. You are using email today. It's a cloud service. You are using WhatsApp. You are using Facebook. You are on YouTube. The world is around you. You are actually around the cloud. You are using the cloud all the time. Can you imagine somebody texts you, tell you that, wow, wait a minute, you're not going to be using WhatsApp anymore. You're like, wait a minute, that's my favorite collaborating tool. Or somebody tells you, okay, I'm going to delete you from Facebook. You're going to fight back because you have been so accustomed to the cloud services that you enjoy it. But now, how do you use it for business? How do you use the cloud to advance your career? How do you use the cloud to make big money? All right, because money can be, money is being made. You're going to be one of it. You're going to be part of it in all respect. All right, so let's dive deeper into all of those situations that we just mentioned. This is one right here. Look at this one. This one is big, actually big. Disaster recovery. If you are in business, you have to think about what happened if disaster strike. Would I be out of business or would I survive? All right. Now, if you are physically on premise, there is a big risk that you could be faced with natural disaster and you will not recover. If you are in California and you buy all this machine, you build a big data center, an earthquake comes in and your data center is up in the flame, what will you do? But here is what you can do in the cloud. If you move your business to the cloud, you have 99.99% recovery. Why? Because your data is spread across regions. Your data is in Ohio, your data is in California, your data can be in South Africa, so that even if the whole of California goes through a serious earthquake that everything was brought to a halt, you will still be servicing your customers. That's why cloud is big in disaster recovery. Next, cost, as I mentioned before. You can save compared to premise expense that you will be incurring month after month. You can save up to 70% of that cost when you move to the cloud. How? Okay. First, you only pay for what you use in the cloud. Second, you only provision capacity that you need. This is completely opposite in the on-premise because you have to provision everything to grow ahead of time on-premise. Operational costs, a lot of workers. I'm not saying that you won't have jobs when you go to the cloud. There's jobs in the cloud, a lot of jobs. So nobody should be worried that, oh, the cloud is taking your job away. Rebrand yourself. That's why we are here today. We're bringing this idea to you so you should start thinking, how can you be part of the cloud so you don't become obsolete? So cost efficiency and reduction is a very big thing in the cloud. So if you go to the cloud, you save yourself a lot of money. I talked about disaster recovery already. Big time efficient in the cloud. Collaboration. Can you imagine how we are all connected today? In LinkedIn, you are connected in Facebook, you are connected in WhatsApp, You are connected with Signal. You are connected. I mean, so many collaborative tools that you use today. These are all cloud-based systems that you are already involved. So can you imagine, I used to, when I moved to the US in the 80s, I used to write a letter to my fiance, she's my wife now. I would write a letter in the US, she's in Cameroon, and I sent a letter through mail. I mean, there was no email, there was nothing, right? That was in 1988. Some of you were not even born by then. So the letter would take 3 weeks to 4 weeks to get there, well, at least to be delivered to her. And then she want to reply back, and I waited and waited, and I write another one, and then I get a reply of it was a mess. But today, can you imagine what you guys do? You just click, click, click. Information is everywhere. Call on the phone, you don't have to pay for it. WhatsApp, everywhere. Can you imagine that? Cloud is the future. Cloud is the future. You're already enjoying it. Now, flexibility, shrink. If you provision capacity, you don't want, shrink it. If you under provision capacity, you need, expand it. And that's why the cloud is called elastic cloud. Elastic cloud. It's almost like a rubber. You draw it and then you let it go shrink, elastic. That's how the cloud look like. That's how the cloud is flexible in terms of all the tools and the component that you use in the cloud. It is very flexible and efficient. Scalability. Scalability. So if you look at scalability, one second. All right, one second. Let me keep these guys quiet in my office. Yeah. Okay, so let's move to the next one. The next one is this. Environmental friendliness. I briefly mentioned to you at the beginning that sometime after depreciation of on-premise equipment, businesses want to get rid of this old hardware. Some company will just get it for free, clean it up and resell into the market. At the end of the day, it ends up somewhere. It's not good for our environment for all this hardware, but then for the cloud, you don't have to deal with that anymore if you use the cloud. So it is cloud, it's environmental friendly. Let's put some numbers against those benefits. And I highlighted 3 things here which are more important to me. If you compare to on-premise, ability to cut costs, you can actually cut costs today. If you are in business on-premise, and if you are going to make a decision to go to the cloud, I can tell you right now that you're going to cut your cost by 44%. That's money in your pocket. That's money you are saving a month. You can take that money and invest in something else and make more money that you have tied up the money on-premise because you are not in the cloud. You can reduce your capital expenditure by 38%. You don't have to buy printers. Well, you can buy printers, but you don't have to buy servers upon servers upon servers again, because you can provision them, deprovision them anytime in the cloud, depending on your needs. And the third thing that I want to tell you is that the speed to market, how fast you can get to the market and begin to make money, you can get there 33% faster than you would do on premise. Those are the 3 that I want you to take home. Ability to cut costs, reduce expenditure, and go to market fast. That's the value I want to bring to you. Now, we've been talking about cloud. Yes, it's good, but what is a cloud and who are the providers? Which cloud are we talking about? In general term, I'm talking about cloud in general, the technology of the cloud in general. But let's look at the players. Who are the players? If you do your research, I want you to look at the Magic Quadrant. It's a service, it's an industry or a vendor that is well known in the IT world. If you are doing research, whether any technology that you want to adopt, please look for Magic Quadrant. You'll find a leader so you can make the right decision. Don't make decision because you know somebody who knows somebody in a particular company. Maybe Oracle. You say, oh yeah, Oracle is the best cloud provider. Let's go to Oracle. No, go do your research. Go for Magic Quadrant, and this is it right here. The Magic Quadrant tells you who the cloud platform leaders are. You read the quadrant from the center towards the right end over there, right? So if you are climbing this ladder, who is ahead of this ladder is AWS or Amazon Web Services, is leading the industry in cloud platform cloud platforms. The next person behind Amazon is Microsoft Azure. And the third is Google. These are the leaders in this quadrant. There's no challenger. And this other part here is the niche, meaning they have their own niche area, they have their own customer base, they are not out to take the entire world, they have their niche, right? These are the niche players like Alibaba, Oracle, and IBM. They are in the niche. And therefore, the leader is Amazon, followed by Microsoft and Google. Those are your leaders. So if you are in a business, you want to subscribe to a provider. For example, if you are in your country, you want to subscribe to a telephone company, you are either going to Orange or you're going to Nextel, or you want to go to Camtel. Who is the best? Some people take both, and it's happening too here. Some company actually will provision some services in Amazon and some in Microsoft. That's called hybrid cloud, and so on and so forth. So those are the leaders. So you choose your leaders. Now let's look at the market share. Let's look at the market share. If you look at the market share, look at the pie right here. AWS or Amazon owns 32% of the entire global market, right there. And Microsoft has 18%. Microsoft has 18%. And then everybody else that is not represented globally is 28%. However, you have these other competitors down here. You can look at the colors, can kind of match them. Oracle, IBM, Alibaba, they represent this section right here. So you know your leader right there from the pie. Now, I told you about the best things or the greatest benefits of the cloud, but that doesn't mean that cloud doesn't have challenges, right? The cloud still have challenges. So some of these providers, what they do is that they take these challenges and work so hard to make sure that you as a customer don't suffer that much. So one of the challenges is that internet connectivity truly is a challenge. Can you imagine that we are here now? If your internet goes down, you will not be in this seminar right now. So that's a bottleneck right there. So we are at the mercy of the internet availability. But how are some of the providers dealing with it? I will talk for IWS because that's my leader. What they have done is they actually wire fiber optics under the ocean, under the earth, from region to region, country to country. So they have their own private network. And in some part of the world, they will jump over a new provider network, and but they lay down their own cable most of the time. All right. So they're trying to mitigate this problem that may happen, including low bandwidth. If you don't have a good bandwidth, then maybe your video will not show up here. Maybe you may not communicate very well. You may not talk through the internet very well. So sometimes they run into that issue right there. Security issues, well, if you are a provider and you're the leader, you better take it up, because every company has that in mind. Am I going to go to the cloud, public cloud? Is my data secure? Is my sensitive data secure? I'm going to be keeping credit card for my customer. I'm going to keep their information, social security number. Will my data be breached? If you're a provider, you better answer those questions, how you can be secured or how the company will secure your application. And some of these providers are doing a lot of work to make sure that all these concerns are mitigated properly, at least minimized. But it cannot be 100%, secure. So when you get into a course about learning the cloud, there is a responsibility for the customer and the responsibility of the provider. So sometimes you need to know how to protect your own data, and the provider will protect the cloud and you protect your data, but they give you the tools to do that. So it's a shared responsibility model, and it works very well. Job market. My goodness. The fastest job creation engine in the world today, the fastest job creation engine in the world today is the cloud. Let me make that clear. The fastest job creation engine in the world today is the cloud. Why? Why? Because every company, I would say 99% of the time, companies that have not even thought about cloud are thinking about the cloud. It would take maybe 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. They are looking forward for the cloud. Who doesn't want to save money? Who doesn't want to make money in the cloud? Why would you do business when you know that there's an advantage for you in the cloud? So all businesses are looking for the cloud. Africa is also looking for the cloud. I can tell you the truth that there's a lot of African countries that are already embracing the cloud in many ways, especially on the education sector. Most schools are now online across the world. So millions of jobs are being created. Second, jobs that pay well are cloud-based jobs. Jobs that pay well are cloud-based jobs. So if you have an on-premise job today, do not think that that job will be there if you don't rebrand yourself in the next 5 years to 10 years. I was a traditional, since in the 80s, we were not even sure about the cloud or internet for that matter. And learn databases over the years, do consulting. And I realized that my salary cap, the company will not increase my salary. Can you imagine? It get to the top and they will not increase it. I'm like, wait a minute. I have to go back to school, become a data science and specialize in the cloud. And now I break through the barrier. And now my world is well opened. All right. Even if you are doing databases, if you are doing, you are an analyst, or you are a developer, or you are a system administrator, start thinking about your next career. Where do you want to become? The cloud is the future. Whether you like it or not, the cloud is the future. Thousands and thousands of jobs are created. So, as we move forward, what are some of the jobs that are being created? You will hear people talk about cloud consultant, DevOps cloud engineers, data science engineers, cloud reliability engineers, cloud infrastructure engineers, cloud security engineers, cloud architect. These are the most common titles, and there are many more that they give to you when you start moving to the cloud as an IT specialist. Except you're going there as a business, or you're going there as an employee, then you will inherit one of these titles. The salary ranges up to 120,000 and beyond a year. If you look at the, let me see if I can make this graph look better. You can see I have a little graph here. From the left-hand side, it goes right to the top and it decreases towards the right. You see an average, a median salary, people earn up to 142,800 a year in some of these big titles. So there is opportunity there in the cloud. Do you want to see how the cloud works? Thumbs up? Show me, thumbs up.
Yes, sir, of course.
All right. Let's see how the cloud works. All right. So I want to demonstrate how elastic, how fast you can get to the market, how fast you can stand up system in the cloud. Within 5 minutes. Something where I will ask you, if you were to build a computer, in those days, in the 2005, 2006, we used to build computer in Cameroon. I mean, if you go to the lab, we have to buy a computer. Sometimes we buy the motherboard, we buy the case, we buy the hard drive, the NIC card, and then we assemble those things in Cameroon. We bring the system up, we connect it to the network. I have to hire the technician. I have to hire a network person. And this guy worked on the same machine. Can you imagine that? Today, no more. That is old technology. So what we're going to do now is you can time me how long I'm going to take to bring live and a compute in the cloud. Meaning I'm going to build a machine in front of you and you can see it come live within minutes. Okay. All right. So let me bring down my slide and then we move out to the cloud. Not this one. Don't start measuring yet until I get this. Don't put your clock yet. Just don't say it took longer. I'm not ready yet. So let me bring up my screen and then we can start. All right. So we are right there. So I'm going to be using Amazon. Amazon is the leader, and I could use Azure, but let's do Amazon because that's where my best area. So to get to the cloud, as an IT engineer, you go to this IT part of the cloud, which is aws.amazon.com. That is the address you go to, and we press enter key. It will prompt you to enter your username and password. When you click on this orange button on your top side of the screen, you click on it, and it takes you right in. The reason why I'm in already because I'm already logged in. Before I came to the presentation, I have to prepare my environment. So I don't have to go through the login process, but it will prompt you to log in. It knows who you are, and it will lead you into the platform. Here is the desktop. When you boot up your machine, your laptop, you go to the desktop and you open your Excel, you open your Word, and you do stuff. In the cloud, you are going to be on the management console. That's it. You go virtually on the management console, and I'm going to build a machine right now. That machine has a name. It's called EC2. That's a fancy name. Don't ask me what it means. When you come to class, if you're going to be taking one of these courses, we'll explain to you what EC2 means. But this is a virtual machine. It's a server we're going to be right now with you. And when we get here, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start and build a machine. So I click on instantiate the instance, and it takes me to here. When I'm this part, I'm shopping. I'm looking for the machine that I want to build. I want to build a Windows server. I want a Windows server. So I search for Windows server. I have a number of Windows versions here. They are latest, see, 2019, 2019. These are the latest versions. You will not see even 2022 is already here. You will not see 2012. You will not see 2015 or 2000 at all. So it's always the latest and greatest. So I'm going to take the first one. I'm going to select that machine. That's what I'm going to build. And it says, okay, which type of machine do you want? How many CPU do you want? I pick a template. This is a template, pre-configured template. It says, okay, I want 1 CPU. I want 1 gig of RAM. It's going to have a NIC card. It has a hard drive and so on and so forth. I say, yes, go ahead. I want that machine. It said, where do you want to put it? I want to put it in my cloud. And just accept all the default right here. Don't worry about what they are until you go to class. You will know what it means. Just go ahead and add hard drive. I want a hard drive on my machine. I want to save my data. So, okay, Amazon say, okay, what about 30 gig? I said, no, I want 50 gig. You put there, you click next. What name do you want to give your machine? I want to call this machine, I'm going to call it KiawiTech. Yeah, there we go. All right, so I configure security. I say, well, that's fine. I want RDP because I want to be able to remote to the machine. I leave it like that. Click in the review, and I click launch. It said, before you launch it, what is your key? You need a key to open that machine. You need a username and password. I said, okay, create it for me and download it. All I have to do is I have my key. Which I want to use, and it is right here. Or you can create a new one. Let's create a new one. I'm going to call this KiawiTech key. Okay, I'm going to call it key pair. All right, download my key. That's my username and password. Download it. If I create my machine, if you don't have that key, you cannot connect to it. So that's my security right there. So when I'm done with that, I just go ahead, launch the system, and that's it. My machine is now being provisioned. Let me look at it. You click on the ID and you go there, and that machine is right there. So I have to give you a few minutes for it to render. So what is happening now is the machine is being built as we wait. It may take maybe just 1 minute, and the machine will be ready for us. All right. So give you a few minutes. The machine is getting prepared for us, and they have some additional information that you may like to know. When you go to class, you will know about all that. But it's as simple as that. Well, the machine is already running right now, but it will do some checks to make sure that my hard drive that I configure is there, my memory that I want is there, everything has been settled right, there's no error. When the checks are passed, then you can continue to use the machine. But while we are waiting, let us prepare on how we're going to connect to the machine, right? You just be a machine in the cloud, but how do you use it? How to use it? All right, let's do this. We're going to connect to the machine. I'm going to get information about this machine. You go to connect. I'm going to use RDP, which is a tool that every Windows system has. You click that one, and then you say, okay, the username is going to be the administrator. That's the default. Administrator is the default username. Then you have to collect the password. I mean, just say, wait, when the machine is not ready yet, I can't tell you what the password is. Just wait. So we come back, we have to wait for a little bit. And sooner or later, the machine will be ready. It is initializing the status checks. And meanwhile, you can see what we have just built. Let me show you the detail about this machine. If you look at the security right here, it's a Windows system. It is version 2019. It was done today. And a lot of things, the name of my key is KiawiTech key. And it tells you a lot about your machine. If you go to security, it tells you what security group you have configured. If you go to networking, it gives you the IP address of your machine, and 2 IP address, actually give you 2 IP address or the name or the DNS name that you can connect to it. And if you go back here, the storage, it tells you how much storage you took. It tells you that I set the machine for 50 gig and so on and so forth. So security checks, it shows that checks are still going on right now. And sooner or later, they'll be back. And once they are back, we can use the machine. Monitoring, you can actually see how your machine is performing when the machine is up. It will show you how the machine is being used, how much CPU is being used. There we go. The statistics are showing up how much CPU is being used. If anything failed, it will let you know. So everything is here, is being monitored. using the tools. So now the machine should be up in a minute. You refresh it to make sure that the machine is up. And now we have passed, the machine is up and ready. Now, so let me go back and get my password. It's an encrypted password. I'm gonna browse and find the key that I downloaded, and it's right there. Here we go. The key is right there. Bring the key up, and it is encrypted. Even if somebody pick the key, the key, they will never be able to know what to do with it. So now I have to decrypt that key to get the real password. I click on it, and here is the password. Click on here, I copy the password already. Now I'm gonna save that information somewhere out here so that I can remember to come and copy it, right? Keep it there, and now I'm going to get the, go back to the machine, and I'm gonna get the IP address because I need that information, and I'll put it right there. The IP address is there, and it is time for us to connect to the machine. What do you do? Go to your Windows machine, type here remote desktop. Every Windows machine has it. On your laptop, just type remote desktop. It will show up right there. Click on it, and it will say, where do you want to connect? I will put in my IP address that I just copied. It's right there for my machine. I'll say connect, and it say, okay, you want to connect? Who are you? I need to know who you are. I say, okay, I change this user and I put administrator. This is a guy. This is a default name, administrator, right? Administrator. And I'm going to copy my password and put it in there. It's a complicated password, so you cannot just type it. You have to copy the password, and then you put it over here, and then you connect. And it says, wait a minute, are you sure? Say yes, connect to it. And here we go. Our brand new machine is coming up live in front of you. We just built a machine. I just built a machine with the capacity I want. And now I can install any software I want to run in the cloud. I can download anything I want to download to the cloud and from the cloud. I can play games on this, my brand new machine sitting in front of me. That's it. See how easy to build a machine? You don't have to wait 6 months to order from an HP. You don't have to wait from IBM. Or it's right there. You can go ahead. It looks and feel like the real machine that you guys know. You go here, you can browse the folders. You click on the Internet folder explorer, and you have your machine right there. Everything that you see on your desktop, you see right there. We provision 50 gig, and Windows use 33. The rest, and we have 33 free. So you can go ahead, you can create folders like you do. It's exactly what you do on premise is now in the cloud. Copy your data, put your databases there, run every application you have to run, your payroll, run everything you can do right there. And you have your username and you have your password. Nobody can get to it except you. Now, let me say, oh, wait a minute, I don't like this machine. Well, don't worry about it. Just disconnect from it. Go ahead and disconnect from it. I'm going to disconnect from it. And I go back to the cloud and say, all right, wait a minute. This machine like this, I don't like it. And I don't want it. I don't want to be paying for this. Select it. Go under instance state. Terminate.
So before you terminate, are you open for a question, just in case?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I think I should be on video. Yeah. So I wanted to find out when you were going through the different specifications that you did choose for the instance, I saw something like /dev/SDA, and I wanted to find out, is that the naming convention that the hard drives do follow for the Amazon what am I saying? Yeah, for the EC2 computer that you just built. And again, my confusion is coming because you did choose a Windows version, not Linux. So
because in we put it the slash go this way, right?
Yeah, I saw it. That's why. So it was.
Well, the thing is that the underlying storage platform is Linux based.
Okay.
But mounted into Windows.
Okay. All right. That makes more sense now.
You see, it's called ABS, elastic block size, and it's a Linux based. There is once you start building more compute, there are area where you can actually do Windows, right? It's called FIS. That is like a file server. Then you can get that structure that you're looking for. Very good question. Any other questions? So let's terminate this guy, and then we say forget it. As you terminate it, you are not paying for it. That's it. I deleted the machine. You cannot recover from termination, but you could have just gone ahead and shut it down in the evening, come back and start it the next day. You don't pay until you use it. That's the beauty of the cloud. And now I terminate it. I can create another one. Who cares? You can just build another one. You can build 2. You can build 5. You see how flexible, how easy. I don't have to go to school to learn how to build machines. I just learn it in the cloud. Just follow the instructions. The shopping cart, you just click, you're done. And you can connect to it. You can use the machine. That is what I mean by cloud is the future. The cloud is the future. Please pay attention to the technology that is coming to you. With that, Mr. Dennis, officially, I am ending here and open for questions.
Thank you so much, Peter. Let's a little clap for Peter before we take questions, please. All right. All right.
Well done, sir.
Thank you, sir. What a brilliant presentation. I do also have a lot of questions, and I know a lot of people here have questions for you. Let's take room for questions. Please, let's do it in an organized way. If you have a question, use the reaction button to raise your hand. We'll give you a chance to ask your question, and then we'll go in that order. All right, let's start with Dixon. See his hand up. Dixon, please, go ahead.
Thank you very much for the presentation. It was a beautiful one. The question I want to ask, the machine you created, I think that's the same with the process of creating a virtual machine using a Hyper-V.
Yep.
All right. All right.
So
thank you.
Hyper-V, give me a little bit of the background. The Hyper-V is that technology that allows you to build virtual machine in Windows. All right. So, but you don't have access to it because it's cloud-based. Okay. But again, if you're on premise, you have to configure actually it comes with Windows Server. Hyper-V comes with Windows Server. And then you can create multiple virtual machines. If you want to do one at home, if you want to try virtual machine at home, download what is called VirtualBox. Install it. You can create multiple machines on your laptop.
All right. Thank you for that question. Let me, now that I'm not seeing a couple of hands, I know people are trying to test the water before they ask the questions, but let me ask a couple of questions I have for you, Peter. And this is, we in this community, most of us here are from African origin, and looking at cloud technology, what would you say how will cloud technology actually help us Africa actually emerge in this era of digitalization that we're going to? What would you say it's actually going to help us?
You see, can you imagine how many people would like to be in business in Africa, in IT for that matter? I was in Cameroon, and when we started our consulting business in 2001, I was hiring people from India to come and work for us. So it came to my mind, like, why should I do that? Let me go to Cameroon and hire my own people and bring here. When I got there, the knowledge was not there. There was no IT that I could hire and bring to the US. So that's the reason why we started a school there, so we can train them and bring them to come and work on our consulting services. The handicap that we have in Cameroon, one, is our infrastructure. Our infrastructure is very, very challenging. Even the electricity, do you know how many times the electricity goes off in Cameroon? It's amazing. Even if you buy a very nice server, just the fact that it goes up and down, the machine will not survive. And that's the reason why we started off. I brought home I brought to Cameroon about 200 machines in 2001. Before it was 6 months, I had like 50 left.
Wow.
So how can the cloud help us, Africans? Forget about the infrastructure in Africa. Put your business in the cloud and go to bed, it will be there and running. Now, the only challenges there is our internet bandwidth. And it's getting better. Can you imagine how we used to do a dial-up from Boya to Douala to connect to internet? Well, we have competition in Cameroon now. I'm talking about Cameroon, they may people here from Ghana, from Nigeria. It's the same thing. So the more you learn about the cloud, it will alleviate that challenge that we have naturally in our environment. So don't think about cloud, especially young people that you are very smart and very talented. You can run a lot of businesses in the cloud of your own. Very good question, Doctor.
Great, thank you. I have more questions, but I will give room for people that have questions. I see Vital's hand is up. Yes, Vital, please.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Peter, for the nice presentation. My question is from your slide 9, where you were discussing the benefits of cloud computing for businesses. I kind of get confused in differentiating between the flexibility aspect and the scalability. Can you explain more on those two aspects, maybe with example?
All right. Flexibility and scalability. Okay, if something, if you look at the word itself, flexibility, the fact that, for example, I just stood up this compute today, and I want to change it. I don't want to terminate it. I choose one CPU and one RAM. I choose one CPU and one RAM. I can go back and increase the CPU and RAM for that same machine. That means I can scale up very easily. The same machine, I just decided to increase the capacity. It will not take me up to 5 minutes to do that. That is the flexibility that you have in the cloud. But let's contrast that to on-premise. If you had a machine on-premise that you have to increase the memory, what do? You have to find out what kind of memory, what kind of chip are you going to buy? You're going to find the vendor that you're going to buy from. You're going to place the order. You're going to wait for the order to come. You have to have a technician who's going to go put in the, and before you put it down, you have to shut down the machine, put it in there, and bring it back up. Hopefully everything will work if the memory is compatible. That's not flexible. It's not flexible. Now, let me talk about scalability. You can scale up or you can scale horizontally. It's called what is called horizontal scaling and vertical scaling. Horizontal scaling, I can stand up 2 EC2s or 3 or 4 or 5 machines at the same time. I can scale horizontally. Okay, I can scale vertically by just doing exactly what I just said 2 minutes ago, whereby I can increase the capacity, I can increase the storage, I can increase the memory dynamically without delay. So that's the meaning of flexibility and scalability.
Okay, all right. Thank you, sir.
Okay, doctor, let me ask a quick question to
yes, please, Amar.
Yes. Yeah, thank you so much, sir, for honoring us with this wonderful presentation. Yeah, my question is mostly on the money part of it, right? Because that's the motivation. I want to ask for our brothers that are in Africa, because I see a lot of examples from Africa. We have some of them here in this meeting. So for them, what can you tell them as a motivation that there is hope in this? Like what I'm trying to say is there any guarantee for them, for those of them that are currently studying IT now, that they can get some job or maybe work from home in Cameroon, or maybe migrate to other countries and stuff like that? And how is that possible? If you can like explain based on your experience and with some example, that would be great.
Very good question. That question has always come up, especially from African brothers and sisters.
Mhm.
If I learn this technology, how do I benefit from it if I don't travel abroad, right?
Yeah.
So there are many ways that you can profit from this revolution, staying from your home and working from your home. If you are in Africa and you want to get a white collar job, cloud-based in the US, the United States, the United States government requires that you identify yourself, either you are a citizen or you are a green card holder. Otherwise, it will be very challenging. Why? Because they want to be able to take taxes from you. Because if we don't identify you in the American system, how would they collect money from you when you get all these big monies? So American government make it a little bit challenging. If you are working for a European company, that's a different story. If you are working for a German company, that's a different story. It might not be as strict as the US is, but there are other ways that you guys can make money. Let me share my screen with you for a minute and I show you what people are doing and they're making money. Can you see my screen? So there are platforms out there that they don't even interview you. They don't interview you. They look at your profile and then they chat with you and say, can you do this? How much do you want me to pay? Blah, blah, blah. And you go back and forth. And then you win that contract. And then you go ahead and do it and you submit. Now, the platform owners are the collateral. They are the collateral. The platform owners are the collateral. What that means is they take the money from the seller, from the seller and keep for you. When you provide the service and there's an agreement that everything works out, they hand the money to you. So there's no fraud here. There's no scamming here. It's very difficult to scam anybody there. So I'm going to show you a couple of them. And that's why I've been training my students to start moving into that area for my African students. And they're already in there working. Now, there is a platform called Fiverr.com. All right, look at this platform. This is something I want you guys to pay attention to. What I'm telling you is there is no regulation here. There's no taxes to be taken except a platform fee that they will take from you. So let's say we want to talk about SQL database, for example, SQL. You type the word SQL and search. These are, oh, sorry. Let's see what I went wrong here. Database. Let me just type here database. When you look at database, you can see these are people like you who have learned the skills and they are very proficient and they're selling those skills for money. If you look at this guy here, he has already 450 customers. This guy have 80 something. Everybody will have a customer. Everybody has a customer. Look, database. We're talking about database right here. SQL Server and so on and so forth. Different people. People are looking for help. They come to you. When you create a profile here, then people will show up and ask you for help. Can you imagine the fact that you see $10 here doesn't mean that it's $10. It's just attracting you to come in. When you go in there, they will look at what you need and then you can price a person $50. Let me say you are in Cameroon and you take a small contract like this, $50. You do it like 4 of them. That's $200 in a week. Translate that to our currency. You're almost taking money for the governor. Those guys have come and so they embezzle all sort of money in Cameroon there. So this is something that I like you guys to pay attention to. And through Dr. Dennis, if you want to get involved, check with him. And there are ways, don't go there and create directly, because if you go through him and he will do you like a referral, and then there's a lot of discount that come with that. And that's what I do with my students. And so that's one, okay? There's another one called Upworks, okay?
Yeah, that's
Now, yes, Upworks is somewhere where the employer come and post jobs here. Then it's almost like a marketplace where you bid. Somebody said, I can do it for $50. You can say, I can do it for $25. So, and then you put your profile. What the company will do is that they're going to look at your profile, they look at your cost, then they will hire you. And that's it. You do the job, you provide the result, you get paid. There's another one called freelancer. Okay. This is freelancer. Actually, freelancer bought Upworks, so they are the same. So the freelancer have a different way of doing it. They're almost like Fiverr. Again, you can find jobs. A lot of jobs are out here by skill or by a particular kind of job, whether French or English, whatever everything here. Any skill that you've learned, you can find job there in different industry. Again, you put your profile, you communicate with the employer, and you have jobs. So these are some little ways of making a living while you look for the best job to come across. And then you expose you to real-time experience that people may not have. If you are looking for a 100,000 job, they want to look at how many years have you been in the industry? What experience do you have? But the more of this short contract that you do builds that confidence, and you can highlight that in your resume, and then it becomes very, very useful for you when you go after those jobs. And lastly, for example, my consulting organization, something that we've been thinking about is we go out and pick up the contract as an organization because there's a service you can provide. You can style your organization to be a resource for that company. They don't care who is working for you. It's the company that accept that contract. Trustee will accept a contract from a company, and the company just want to get the work done. I can then hire anyone I want to bring into that project. When I do that, then for those who I cannot account for the money that goes out, you can start that money as an expense, the company expense that can. At that point, you are legally doing the work to the American government. It could be a resource. It could be a. I would put a title for that expense, but that money goes to you, okay? And I justify the expense. I could have used a contractor, and I can also take taxes for that matter for the government, and then you can benefit that way. So those are three different ways. There are other ways out there, but that was a very important question for Mr. Mbak, who answered that question. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much, sir.
That was a very beautiful one. And just to add a little bit more on that, reduce that time that you spend on Facebook, on WhatsApp, and build a profile, right? That time will yield more fruits for you in the long run. So, yeah. Here I have a question here on the chat, which says, this is from Solange. Thanks for the presentation, sir. Hearing from you on the cloud being the future with all the facility it presents, I wish to understand, is the cloud not going to reduce manpower?
Wow. Do you have a choice? Can you imagine, guys, look at this, for those of you who are in the US. In the 80s or in the 90s, right? I would drive to the airport to pick up a guest. Maybe some of you, people traveling, coming to the US, I go to pick them up. And then you have to park your car in the RAM, right? You go and park your car in the RAM, and then you spend time, receive your guests, maybe spend 1 hour, 2 hours, have fun together, and then you go pick your car. But you park your car is not for free. In the airport, you have to pay for the parking. So when you come in to park your car, there are attendants, okay? There are attendants are there. You take a ticket and you go and park your car. The ticket has the time where you parked. When you are done at the airport and you go to get your car to exit, you give that attendant, you give that ticket to the attendant. Somebody takes it and tells you that ticket is $30 because you stay for 30 minutes, or maybe maybe $50 because you stay for 3 hours, right? And then you can put your money, give cash or give check, give whatever you give, right? Today, there's no one person. What happened? The manpower has been taken over by computers. All you have to do is put your credit card and park your car. When you come back, put your credit card, everything's done. You have a choice? No. So what does it tell you? My dear, rebrand yourself. Stay with the technology. Learn as much as possible.
Yep.
There's no option. I had to go back to school because I hit the ceiling. Good question. Very good question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Question. Yeah, go ahead. Yes. Who was talking?
I think it was Solange. She was just saying thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I have a question, Doc.
Can I ask?
I have a question on following up on the last question or answer.
Use your hand, guys, to raise your hand up. Yes, go ahead. Yes.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Again, thank you very much, sir, for coming in tonight. On the side of education, just like you say, is there any recommended schools that actually do cloud computing? I know there are a couple of out there. I think even, I guess I know at least 2 that I can remember, but as KiawiTech, we like to provide valuable and tangible information to our trainees and those that are aspiring, as they start this journey, they should know that they are not ending here. They may want to go ahead, just like you say you hit the ceiling, but maybe for them, they didn't hit the ceiling, but they want to also diversify and they want to make sure that they have that option. So if you have some schools for recommendation's sake, we welcome that. Doctor, I guess I'm on the right path, will like that. And if you can share that, maybe the names, and some people can start looking at you. They don't have to go apply right now, but as they consider their career path, it will be important for them to have valuable information. Thank you.
Absolutely. The beauty about cloud technology and training is that almost, I would say, colleges and universities do have a course in cloud technology. I mean, if the cloud is the future, which institution is not going to teach it? Are you in trouble? Why are you teaching the kids or the students? But the problem is, if you go to a traditional college, a 4-year degree college, you're gonna pay a lot of fees and learn subject that it may not be needed. You may be learning literature, you may be learning anthropology, then you learn your technology, you learn all kind of stuff, right? Now, there are also online schools that tailor most programs towards a specific career. If you want to become a database specialty of the cloud, then you can apply to those schools. If you want to become a data engineer, like the title I showed you, specialize in the cloud, then schools are there online that can do that. Again, these guys are very pricey. They don't care why you're from Africa or you're from America. The price is the price. Sometimes I begin to wonder, if you are teaching online, and why are you charging more than people who go on premise to the class? Same price. So there are other schools like the one Dr. Dennis is offering that is tailored only for a specific career. I teach AWS solution architect and database specialty and eventually security as well, is only for that purpose. You know what I mean? Learning unnecessary subject or Azure for that matter. You can learn Azure specific for the purpose. So you look for situation like that, and I think Dr. Denny is in great position to guide in that respect. Or you can come to me, I can also guide. We are working together with Dennis, Dr. Dennis for that. So, I mean, stay where you are and approach any of us, you'll be well directed. Otherwise, you can go and give your money there in a different organization out there. You may not get. By the way they teach is quite different from the way we teach. We teach you with you in mind, and we teach you using our own language. When I say language, I mean we break it down to the point where you have to understand. But talk to a Igbo.
Thank you so much for that, Peter. And just to add more, guys, there's really a difference in going through a specialized training like the ones that we all offer, right? Also, because you are listening from someone that's like you, that knows your challenges in order to go through this program, you know. So that's why when you learn from people like us, it's better, because I don't need to teach you American history when you're coming here to learn about cloud computing, right? Mm-hmm. You have to go and figure out, I need to figure out what do you need to be able to succeed in this? What does the job market need? And we provide that for you, right? So this is really, really important that you understand this. And of course, we understand the challenges that you have as far as finances are concerned. We make it cheap. So rather than putting all the money, like Peter say, out there, you pay a little bit, right? And we focus in making sure that you get the job out there. Thanks so much for that question, Milton. All right, I see I have a couple of more hands up. We have 15 more minutes to wrap up with this. Let me go with guys. It's always good to join the class with your real name. I don't like calling people Galaxy 8, Note 8. Go ahead, Galaxy Note 8. Yes, I have someone with a hand up, Galaxy Note 8. All right. Okay. If that person is not answering, let me see.
Maybe Galaxy Note 8 is charging.
Your line might be muted in case you want to ask a question. All right. So while that person is trying to unmute himself and ask a question, Peter, I had one last question for you from your presentation. Sorry? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Yes. Sorry, I just wanted to know what he created was a machine under the cloud. Is he saying that that machine cannot be like, is a security? Is that a security when it comes to the cloud? Like, you can do everything in that machine, like nobody can access it. Is that what it is?
Of course. If you don't have that key, even if you pick the key, you have to decrypt it in order to get the password. So I create my machine, and you may know the IP address quite all right, and you may know the username, but you will never be able to connect to it from anywhere around the world until you have the key and you can unencrypt the key before you can actually be able to get a password. So that's part of the security, but there are 3 more layers where you can learn when you go to class.
Okay, sir.
It's called the security group, it's called the knuckle, there are so many layers that you have to do, even firewall, internal Windows firewall as well.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Titles, I see your hand up, please, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Mr. Peter, for the great presentation. Mine is a soft skill question. Since you talked about a consulting firm in Cameroon and the school, so I was willing to find out the name or where it's situated, so we can maybe let our brothers back home to join. Thank you.
Absolutely. It's called TrustTech, Higher Institute of Technology in Monaco. We are looking forward to get cloud training on the premise so that people, because sometimes they have problem with internet, but we're trying to get the content to them, and I have some of my certified cloud practitioner and associate. They are there in Cameroon. I'm planning working with them to be able to teach that course there. And then in the US, it's called Trust Tech Online Academy. We've been teaching students about the cloud this is the second year, and we're doing very well on that respect. So, but again, everything you want to know, you can go to Dr. Dennis. He will connect you with me, and we'll make sure that you get what you want. And even those from Cameroon too. We have a lot of them in my course, in my class, and some of them are graduated and are working towards getting them something to do. So you can always get to us.
Okay. Thank you once more.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any more questions? I see one very long text here. Basically, may have to read it out. Thank you, sir, for the soul lifting presentation. So my question is basically on the societal impact of the cloud and computer era as it affects Africa. Rwanda government has been leading in this IT idea. What lessons is, sorry, let me make sure. What lesson do we have to learn from Rwanda as it has to do with the computer era? Poverty eradication and conflict resolution in Africa as general.
Wow, that question is a tough one. It involves politics and involves everything. I think Rwanda stands to be one of those African countries that are actually leading. I think it's one of the cleanest. I saw a video, talking about Africa, one of the leading country in Africa in terms of cleanliness, in terms of technology. I think they are doing very well. It's all based on the government of Cameroon, the government of Rwanda, because they know that the future of the country is based on education and the young ones that are growing. And so they provision the environment, giving them access to internet, giving them access, making it more cheaper. And then they partner with the Western world to bring that technology to the people. If a government doesn't have that forward-looking technology for their country and for their youth, then it is very challenging for some of the African country, and they will always be behind, especially Cameroon. I don't know where. Can you imagine that for Cameroon, at one point that the government said, oh yeah, I want to give laptops to all students. Well, it's a good initiative, but guess what we got? Chinese people put the thing overnight, and when they arrived, it was dead on arrival. You see, so it's all about the government, the politics, the economy of the country. The economy is key. And then the worst part is with conflict. If there's conflict, it rolls back all progress many years back. And sometimes this generation are going to suffer for many years. So I'm not sure if I answered your question rightly, but it's all mixed up with economy, the politics, and leaders that have vision for the future and embracing technology.
Thank you so much. Any last question? One last one for the road. All right.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to comment on the aspect that says the technology is changing the world by changing the job phase, which is true. The question I want to ask, and this is general though, at what point are we going to come to the point of inventing rather than proacting, as in like the African continent? We have a way of doing things. We have a different atmosphere or a system of things. Why are we always dependent on the invention that is imported to us? When are we going to come to the point of looking at our problem and begin to think, okay, what can we create to solve this problem? How can I solve this problem? When are we going to get to that point?
Well, Dixon, Dixon, I like your thought. I like your thought process. I really love the way you're thinking. I like the fact that you're asking those questions. It baffles me again and again and again when I think about that. You're not the only one who thinks like that. I've been reading about the emerging market. Africa is an emerging market. Africa will be creating billionaires. Africa will be this, Africa will be that. If you go to Google and or YouTube and you talk about what are the emerging market in Africa, you hear the top 10. And when you go to those top 10, there are people actually inventing in Africa, but not a lot. And there's one thing that has actually affected all of us in Africa. Is that colonial mindset?
Yes, sir.
It has impacted us for decades and decades and decades. It will take a revolution of young people to say, nope, we're not gonna follow the same footsteps. We're not gonna be thinking like the colonial masters, or we're not gonna rely on begging. That's what happened in Ghana. Michael is here, where the country say, you know what, we're not gonna beg from you. They France, go away. We're going to do our, even Rwanda, they refuse completely taking help, financial help. And guess what happened? They were able to create industries, local industries, and they are very well positioned industries in agriculture, manufacturing, retail. In fact, those are the countries that I look up to. Ghana, Rwanda, Kenya. Go on YouTube and see that are so buried in the colonial era that our generation are finding difficulties to emerge from there. So it takes a lot of effort like you are thinking. A few people like you can start creating something. And with this emerging technology, the cloud, is very easy for you to come up with a solution that will work for Africa.
Thank you for that question.
I hear you very well. Thank you for that question indeed.
Michael, I see your hand going up and down. Has your question been answered? You have a question?
Yes, some has already been answered, but I still have a little bit of questions to ask, Prof.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. Since we are looking at cloud benefits, I want to find out from Prof. Aside individuals and corporate bodies that are wanting to move from the on-premise to the cloud, does Amazon as an entity offers direct employment?
Oh my God. Michael, Amazon is hiring thousands of people every month, honestly speaking. And I wish I could show you, but nonetheless, just know that Amazon is hiring people every day. Amazon is everywhere in the world. So they are hiring people in many countries because they are in those countries. They want people who can speak the language in that area and support the customer base in that area. So Amazon is the highest employer when it comes to cultural diversity. Yes. The short answer is yes. Amazon is hiring. You just have
Thank you very much.
Go to Google and type Amazon AWS jobs or Amazon hiring for AWS specialty. You'll see a whole link in there and there are jobs upon jobs upon jobs.
Okay, Doctor, before one quick question, Doctor. I want to ask our buyer, when are you going to come see us again?
What? What was the question?
When are we gonna see you again?
Oh, well,
that question just means, Peter, that question simply means that we need to see you often here.
Invite me, I will come.
Thank you. Guys, you be your weakness. Right? At every given time you want Peter here, let me know. We will send that invitation out.
Yeah.
I guys, let's in view of time.
You already have him there in the cloud, so he doesn't need to be there physically. We need him more here.
All right. In view of time, guys, let's put our hands together. Let's clap again. One more last time for Peter for this wonderful presentation. Thank you so much. All right.
Yeah, Doctor, just this last one before we let Pat go, Doctor. Pat, I just want to ask, do you have any maybe platform or maybe a webinar that you also organize that some people want to benefit from?
Well, actually, I do a webinar once in 3 months, when I'm recruiting students. So I do it at that time. I don't do it very frequently. Dr. Dennis is advanced in this area, so he hosts his seminar every
week. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. I'll rather work with him and bring you guys more knowledge about the IT, especially in any area that you want to talk about. Yeah. I've been out there for more than 30 years. I can always have something to help, you know.
You know, when I go for an interview, somebody say I've been there for 30 years. I already feel defeated in that interview.
Okay. So you might.
All right. So guys, before we let Peter out, before we close the webinar today, I just wanted to first of all take this opportunity to thank Peter so much for accepting, even within a very short notice, to come up with such a brilliant presentation. I wonder how it would have looked like if we gave you 1 month for this, you know. But thank you so much for doing this. Also, guys, Peter is actually one of our partner training. He offers training, one of our partner training schools, the Trust Tech, which we are working hand in hand to enhance this community building effort that we are putting across here in helping you guys emerge. You know, we say emergence begins by us training ourselves. If we want to take the benefit, if we say Africa is the emerging market, who are those people that are going to benefit? If we sit and we fold our hands, people are going to see the opportunities, train their own people, then Africa is going to emerge, but we are still going to clean their toilets, you know, in our own continent. So why don't we also build ourselves in that honor, right? So this is why we are doing all this, partnering with people that have the same kind of vision, the same kind of mindset that can help move this revolution forward. And right now we have a program that has just started last week. We have just had 2 classes, AWS. If you are here, you're interested in taking any class in AWS, reach out. We will help you join the program. It's a 4 months training, not very expensive. We made it very, very affordable for everyone to be able to take it. The program goes on every Saturday and Sunday, 3:30 to 6 p.m. So if you are here and you're interested in joining that, let me know and I will link you up. We will also have other programs that are coming up in the future that we'll be making available to you to understand and probably join if you are interested. With these guys, I really want to thank all of you. I know it's time for coming out here today. And thank you again, Peter, once more for accepting this. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.